All right, grown conversation. If Morris cannot safely move a man into his home for the holidays, you probably can't either, Black women. Now, I rarely ask anybody to share this around, but I need you to share this with the sisterhood. It's cuffing season. It's also winter. A great number of men that are living in their cars and living in various situations where you would not necessarily know they're homeless are looking for another place so they can get indoors. You do not want to provide that place. And the person who illustrated it for me was a gentleman who was, now remember, I live in a neighborhood that is gentrified fully. I live in San Francisco, California. People around me sell their houses for seven-figure dollars. That's the kind of area I live in. So it was a very great shock to me to be awakened by a gentleman who had just come up the street as far as he could. He was so burdened and he was so loud. And even the person on the phone, he was on speaker. So I'm listening to their whole conversation. And he's talking about the man he moved in, who's not on a lease, who shouldn't be there, has now become abusive. The cycle of abuse is escalating. He talked about what this man does, and then talked about, but he keeps saying, "I love you, Morris," which is how I know his name. Morris is a 64-year-old white gay male in San Francisco. Now, understand this, ladies, there is no man have more access to resources in San Francisco than Morris's type of man. It's just not possible, you know. Potentially, but no, basically, because San Francisco is really set up for rich white people, and then gay is a level on top of it. So this is Morris, though, realizing, talking about what this man has been doing, that it may cost him his living. He's 64 now. And winter's coming here too, although winter here is not what it is in other places. But he's 64. Senior housing is at a premium here. He rents. This man may cost him his living, and he is in fear of his life. Now, the other end, because I said he's on speaker, so they're all talking. They're sitting up there plotting on how they're going to get this man out. And the other man asked, "Well, how much does he know that you're getting ready to do this?" And Morris was sitting up there talking about, "Well, he certainly knows I'm unhappy." So they sat there on the phone and plotted out how they were going to get Morris out. I'm not Morris, but the other gentleman out. They sat out there and worked out a whole strategy before Morris felt better about his life and walked on. And I just sat there and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Morris could not afford to move some man with nothing into his house for lust and desperation. And if Morris, who has every advantage here in San Francisco, can't safely do this in his fear of his life, what are Black women doing even considering this? That's why I said, pass this along to the sisterhood. Morris doesn't have to deal with making a phone call to the authorities in a panic and having the police officer looking at the zip code and thinking, aren't you one of them women that was out there protesting for these men that you were talking about? Aren't you one of these Black Lives Matter women? Aren't you one of the people that want to take away my job that I support my family with, will defund the police? Any hesitation on law enforcement's part, he's hesitating, he's taking his time, you're dying. Let me explain something to you, because I'm sure Morris's unfortunate situation is not a Black man. I'm pretty sure about that from just the nature of the conversation. But this does not matter. This is the issue when it comes to, you have an increasing number of men who cannot feel like they can get what they want, but they still think they deserve it. They think you owe them a life. And if you get them into where you are and give them a taste of a life they have not earned, they still will make up a reason in their pride, because men have the same strong drive for the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life. Actual achievement means nothing. So here's what's going to end up happening to many of you if you do not heed this warning. Since you owe him a life, when you try to put him out of yours, he'll take yours. Either by destroying everything that you built or literally taking your life. And you know why this is especially for men who are in low economic conditions? You know why it's especially bad? Because that's how he's going to earn 3 square meals a day and a warm bed and a lifetime worth of housing, because he will have earned it as a convicted murderer. But you see, there's no downside if you're going to the street otherwise. This is the thing that I don't think Black women understand. Now, Mocha Mama gives some incredible numbers, for how many black men make up the country's homeless population, but because I have not confirmed those numbers, I'm not going to repeat them. But Morris demonstrates that there are more people than black men out there. This is a problem when you give a man a situation he does not deserve. Because those strong drives are the same strong drives, and men do not react well when their drives are denied. Don't do it. It will cost you your life. If Morris can't, from being in a much more resourced position in terms of being able to get help to get out of these situations, then you can't either. Morris may never pass this way again. I prayed for the man. Just because he's a gay man does not mean that as a Christian you don't pray for people that you know are in danger. Man's in danger by his own decisions. So first we gotta save his life, and then Lord Jesus can work on the rest of that. Gentlemen, I'm gonna be fair. Because remember, I'm not putting all of you down. I specified what I was talking about. Men who have nothing going on for themselves economically. Now, we know what the stats say about black men in the country. But here's the thing. Some of you who are doing a little better, who are out here listening to people telling you that you're the prize, and you could go get yourself a waitress or a woman who doesn't have much going for her. Look, that woman will get you killed anyway. There is a thing called state-sponsored proxy violence. Now, men complain in the manosphere that most black women will not acknowledge that this is what goes on. It doesn't hurt me to acknowledge this what goes on because it's true. State-sponsored proxy violence. Every woman who's paid attention to any history in the United States knows she can get you killed. Because while certain people on the police departments in certain places may have an issue thinking it's not worth being bothered, there are other police officers that have been looking at for a reason to be able to get some cred with their racist friends and beat down a black man. Derek Chauvin has admirers on the police forces across the country. So some are not going to be bothered, but some will be glad for the opportunity to come get at you. And even if you get a fair officer and he shows up and you're irate, his chance is still not good. You know, chance is still not good. State-sponsored violence is the thing. And for those of you who are on the S by SPM, if you happen to be seeing this coming from or going to another area in the country, I don't have anything against you. The more men that want another type of woman and actually go leave the country, go find them, the less confused men I have to deal with in the pool of black men who are looking for mates. That's much better. If you think I'm an inferior product, God bless you and keep you. Go wherever you feel you need to go. But see, mess around and find out. I don't want you killed. So when you get to wherever it is you think you're going, Attorney Dennis Sperling of the Manosphere says you got about 20 years before you introducing this woman to an American lifestyle before she becomes Americanized. If you move her here, you got 20 years. You think moving there is going to be an issue, but as I've been looking at international real estate, I discovered something. You really have to have a real understanding of the laws because there are areas where you cannot actually sell the land. You have to lease it because it still belongs to the church or it belongs to the community. So you move in there, you found a woman that lust and desperation. You found a woman that you think that just turns you on and has you excited and is so much better than all us black women, and she's submissive and she does sex whenever you want it and all the rest. And she's sitting up there talking about, hey, Poppy, or however you do it in whatever language you go into, and you're letting her get things together and you don't speak that language. Wait 10 years because now you put her in a lifestyle that she would otherwise not have access to. And if you have not healed, and if you think that you're going to become abusive to this woman and she's done that, just understand state-sponsored proxy violence is a thing, but also that person's family can get away from you and law can do away with you, and law enforcement ain't gonna do nothing to it. Because as far as the country's concerned, the country's already gotten what it wanted out of your American dollar. Y'all, seriously, everybody. I talk to the women first because the danger is much greater. Every 5.5 hours or so, a black woman is killed by a black man. Black men are not being killed by black women at the same rate, but Dennis Berlin, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, for those of you who want to see Manosphere creators, have covered state-sponsored proxy violence. And Dennis Berlin has also covered how you have to move when you begin moving in foreign countries in order to be safe. Because, people talk about women here worship us. Not all of them. It only takes one to put you out of here. You gonna go wherever you going. If you're fornicating, I'm telling you now, you unrepentant, you're not going to heaven. I'm telling you right now. You're gonna go exactly where you earned to be. Now, if you go get married and all the rest, that's a different situation. But you still have to be careful because a lot of women see you as a dollar sign. It's that American dollar. They don't necessarily want you. You may be a good time. They may have heard about the BBC, and I'm not talking about the British Broadcasting Channel. But in terms of how she's going to allow herself to be treated, and in terms of if you don't speak the language and she's doing all the business, be careful. Everybody be careful. It is a very desperate time we are living in. Do not bring people into your life that have nothing to lose. Do not bring people into your life that have not managed to deal with their things because they feel like they are owed a life, and they will take yours if you are foolish. Grown conversation. You have a 64-year-old man who's at the top of the food chain here in San Francisco, except he's not a homeowner. But in terms of race and sexual orientation in San Francisco, if this city cannot protect him, where is he going to go? And he's in fear of his life right now. Don't let it happen to you. Please don't mess around because you're going to find out in heaven and hell what you did wrong. All right. I'm going to stop here and upload this because I want y'all to see this. And as winter creeps on, I need you to watch it until you understand it. And I need you to send it to the sisterhood. And brothers, if you can deal with the first part, then you need to understand the last part. And if you can't get it from me, then like I said, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, uh, Attorney Dennis Sperling has covered how you have to protect yourself. Please, please, please. If you don't want to hear it from a woman, go hear it from some of you in the manosphere. Go use the information that is actually good to protect yourself, both here and abroad. Don't be out here just taking on random people. Please, you will die. Winter is coming and you will never see the spring. Please. Okay. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.